There's a job in the US where you can earn up to $38 an hour. Just to dive into places no one else wants to touch. Not to explore the ocean, but to deal with what's been left behind beneath it. It could be toxic waste, or scenes people want erased as quickly as possible. Every time they go under, they don't know exactly what they'll find. Only that it won't be pleasant. This isn't a job for the faint of heart. And it's definitely not something you bring up at a normal dinner conversation. But without them, what's left underwater would never truly disappear. So the question is, would you take this job if you were paid to do it? This is a biohazard remediation diver. One of the rarest and least talked about jobs in the United States. They are divers who handle hazardous biological waste and what's left behind in water after accidents, tragedies, or disasters. Unlike typical divers, their mission is not to explore, but to clean. They are called in when there is something no one else wants or is able to handle. This job exists for a simple reason. Water does not erase everything. What sinks beneath the surface stays there. And over time, it becomes a threat to people and the environment. From quiet lakes to murky rivers, any place can become a scene. But not everyone can do this job. It requires advanced diving skills, knowledge of hazardous waste handling, and extreme psychological resilience. The number of people in this field is very small, especially those qualified to work underwater. And that is why you almost never hear about them. No spotlight, no recognition. Just silent missions carried out in the dark. They show up after everything has already happened, and leave before anyone even notices. So how much do people in this job actually make? On average, a biohazard remediation diver can earn between $15 and $38 an hour, depending on experience and the level of risk involved. In special cases, such as highly toxic environments or complex scenes, that number can go even higher. But if you think this is a truly high-paying job, the reality isn't quite that simple. Because what they're paid for isn't just skill. It's the price of stepping into places most people would turn away from. And that's exactly why this pay exists. Not because the job is rare, but because very few people are willing to do it long-term. But what's even more important is why society needs them. When an incident happens underwater, things don't just disappear. Biological waste can spread into the environment, contaminating water sources. Bacteria and pathogens can remain, affecting people nearby. And in some cases, it can even involve legal issues, investigations, and social responsibility. No one wants to see those things. But someone has to deal with them. That's the role of these divers. They don't just clean. They prevent consequences you can't see with the naked eye. Without them, a peaceful lake could become a hidden danger. An ordinary river could turn into a source of disease. And what's left behind would never truly disappear. A typical day for them doesn't start with a fixed schedule. It starts with a call. That can come at any time. Sometimes in the middle of the night. Sometimes before sunrise. On the other end, there's always an emergency. A missing person underwater. Or a scene that needs immediate attention. They don't have much time to think. Only to prepare. And move. When they arrive, everything is often eerily quiet. But that silence always hides something beneath. They begin by assessing the environment. How deep the water is. How clear the visibility. How dangerous the conditions are. Then comes the equipment check. A sealed protective suit. Breathing gear. Everything has to be inspected carefully. Because one small mistake can come at a very high cost. The moment they step into the water, the world changes. Sound disappears. Light fades. And visibility drops to almost nothing. They can't rely on sight. They have to feel with their hands. Every movement is slow and deliberate. Anything they touch could be dangerous. It could be sharp objects or invisible toxins. But they have to keep going. Because their job is to find what's hidden below and bring it back to the surface. When the mission ends, there's no celebration. No sense of victory. Only silence. And preparation for the next call. Not everyone can do this job. Those who stay are usually the ones who've learned to handle extreme pressure. Many of them come from the military, search and rescue, or other crisis-related fields. They're no strangers to danger. But what makes this job different isn't physical. It's what they have to face. Every single day. They work with things most people would avoid for a lifetime. And over time, it starts to change how they see the world. Some of them become more distant. Not because they want to, but because it's the only way to keep going. There are images you can't just switch off after a shift. Memories that stay long after the job is done. And not everyone can process them in a healthy way. Burnout in this field is higher than you think. Not because they're not strong enough, but because no one can carry that forever. Stress builds up over time. The silence after each mission can feel heavier than the work itself. And little by little, they begin to distance themselves from others. Friends struggle to understand them. Family doesn't know what to ask. Because some things can't be put into words. And yet, they keep going. Not because they love the job, but because they know if they don't do it, no one will. And that might be the hardest part. Not what they see, but knowing those things will always exist. So how long will this job continue to exist? The answer is a very long time. Because the things that create this job aren't going away. Accidents, disasters, and difficult situations will always happen. And when they do, someone will always be needed to deal with the aftermath. Technology may change how they work, but it's unlikely to fully replace humans. Especially in environments that are complex and unpredictable. Robots can assist, but they can't always take over. Because some decisions require human experience and instinct. In the future, this job may become safer. Better equipment, stricter procedures, and more advanced support technology. But the nature of the work won't change. It will still be a job few people want to do. And even fewer truly understand. And that's exactly why it remains essential. A job that exists in silence, yet keeps society functioning as it should. And maybe, for many years to come, these people will still show up. In places no one wants to look. Doing the work no one else will. There are jobs no one dreams about as a child. No one grows up saying they want to do this. But when life happens, those jobs become more necessary than ever. A biohazard remediation diver isn't a hero in the way you'd expect. No spotlight. No recognition. Just the tasks no one else wants to take. They show up when it's already too late. When everything has already happened. And nothing can be undone. They don't change the past. But they keep it from getting worse. Quietly. Almost invisibly. You may never meet them. You may never know what they've done. But you're still living in a world where someone is cleaning up the worst things for you. And the final question is, if it were you, would you be willing to do that job?